Hello there, and welcome to yet another live stream here on the Critical Pixels channel. This time, taking a look back at a great racing franchise on the Xbox 360 side. After some videos on MotorStorm, I decided that I wasn't really paying enough attention to my beloved Xbox 360, so today we'll take a look back at PGR3. Now, for those unaware, Project Gotham Racing 3 was a launch title for the Xbox 360, and let me check at my notes here. It actually sold not as great as the previous ones, and it did have some positive reviews, but some slightly disappointing reviews. It seemed to be the case of a game that just had too many expectations, as well as a rushed development cycle that for some just wasn't really enough. But I do think this is a very impressive game, and it still remains impressive. And by the way, we're playing it at an original Xbox 360, so what you see here is how the game looks. It was published on November 2005. It had 80 licensed cars from more than 30 different brands, and it features 4 cities, I believe, plus the cockpit view. Now, it did run at almost 720p, and the cars do look quite impressive. So, and for those who don't know, this game, the roots of this game actually start back on the Dreamcast, as it was a, let's say, a sequel to Metropolitan Street Racer. Microsoft wanted to keep that name, but use some slightly different ones, so they went with Project Gotham Racing, which I'm pretty sure confused a lot of people, as some might have expected it to involve Batman or Arkham somehow, but it was just a reference to New York. And as usual, we're starting with a brand new save here. And one of the great things about this game, and one of the great things about racing games of that era, is that each had its own personality. So, Project Gotham Racing, for instance, is an arcade racing game, but it isn't exactly a 100% arcade game. You still have to pay attention, but you earn kudos, you earn points for driving with style, and you race on real cities and you race on real cars. So it's a very interesting mix that the the crew and Forza Horizon series kind of try to keep it today, but not exactly as Project Gotham Racing did. So without further ado, let's start playing. Now, where do we start? London or London? Well, let's pick London then. I believe I don't have any cars yet, so yes. Welcome to the garage, which currently contains no cars. Press A to tour the showroom and choose your first ride. Now let's not waste any time and just look at cars I can afford. The selection is also pretty nice. I mean, straight away we have an NSX, which is the one I'll buy anyway because I really like this car, but let's take a look at the other options we have here. We have a Lotus, the Noble M400, an Ultima GTR, a Jaguar. Well, I'll probably get the Skyline just to change some. Yeah, let's get the Skyline. The blue one, of course, or the the gray one. Yeah, let's get the gray one. So in future we can tweak it to look like the Paul Walker Fast and Furious NSX. Welcome to your garage. On the next screen, you can place your new car in an empty parking bay with the X button. Let's drop it close to the slot machines, and I now have only 5,000 left. And we can actually walk around the garage. And that's interesting because we not only have pictures, but we also have arcades where we can play another game that was developed by Bizarre Creations, which is Geometry Wars 1 and Geometry Wars 2. But let's get back to racing. And I'll play it on medium since I haven't been playing this lately. Street race. Race wheel to wheel against multiple opponents. earn a small credit bonus when you overachieve at the novice or easy level. But well, let's straight away start a traditional race. Now, all the circuits are based on actual cities, which gives the game a very interesting look, as it is an arcade game, but the places are trying to be as faithful to the real cities as possible, and you can definitely tell where you're racing, especially if you're familiar with those cities. There's also a pretty nice damage model. The sense of speed is great, and I'll say that multiple times throughout the video, but it still looks really nice. And I just crashed because I was looking at the chat. Not ideal. Now we have 3 laps, so that must be enough. We still have time to recover. Now, the first 2 games on the OG Xbox were also pretty impressive, and if you haven't played any of those games in the franchise, it's definitely recommended to do so. But the expectations for the launch, for the 360 launch, were just too high. I still think this game is great as it is, but PGR 4, the sequel to this one, and unfortunately the last game in the series, is probably the best one ever released. And after this one, Bizarre Creations would release Blur, now for Activision, and sadly, that would be the last game ever developed by that highly talented studio. Now, as you can see on the top right corner, I have a kudos counter, which I can earn based on style. So, whether by as well as precision. So, if I do clean sections, or if I drift, if I draft, if I perform some great overtakes, I'll earn kudos, and those kudos are essentially the game telling you to drive stylish. So this is not Gran Turismo. You don't have to play or racing. You don't have to play super precise. And we also have some events that will make use of it, especially the cone event, which is a very familiar one. And I don't think I'll be able to win this first event, but at least I'm getting a podium. And unfortunately, that franchise would just be left in the dust by Microsoft. And now that Bizarre Creations isn't even here anymore, it's not really realistic to expect it being resurrected any further. I mean, they essentially said, okay, let's just keep Forza and put Project Gotham Racing in the shelves. And unfortunately, that's what they did. It kind of reminds me of what Sony would do with Drive Club, because seemingly Drive Club was a competitor to, could be a competitor to Gran Turismo, and they just said, no, we can't have this happening, so let's just forget that Drive Club exists. Now, we do have a replay section here, and that's very interesting. You can really make some creative choices. You can watch different cameras. We do have a cockpit view, which for 2005 was pretty great, and it still looks impressive enough. So yeah, I mean, that game has definitely aged really well. But let's move to another event. Now, how do I quit the replay? Turns out I only have to eject. Congratulations, you've earned some badges. Now, unfortunately, this game had a lot of online features that we can't access anymore as the servers have been long gone. And there isn't a PC version either, so we only have to count on what's left on the offline mode. And we have yet another street race to go here. The soundtrack was also really great, which sadly I can't really use. And you can also, if I'm not mistaken, you could use your own repeat tracks on the system during the game, which you can kind of do now with Spotify, but it just doesn't feel the same. But yeah, the tracks really look great. I mean, it really looks like you're cutting through a crazy made up circuit in the middle of a huge city. And we still have to see what New York or Tokyo have to offer. We're still at London. I'm getting some points, some kudos for drafting. But let's try to be, I mean, it's May 1st, so in honor of Ayrton Senna, let's try to go for each gap we find today. Oops. That was good. So now we are in second place. Just a small bump there, but the guy in first has a slightly comfortable lead. The handling model is also pretty good. I mean, I haven't played this game in a while, and I don't feel uncomfortable. There is certainly a learning curve, especially if I were to play on dark, on sorry, hard instead of medium. But it is, quite comfortable to play this and satisfying, actually, as an arcade game should be. Which was, for example, one of the biggest criticisms on Need for Speed Shift, which had a not not great. Just as I was praising the handling system, which means of course that crash was 100% my fault. But as I was saying, the handling model isn't always comfortable, and that could lead to some issues, which was the biggest example of what happened with Need for Speed Shift. Even though you can eventually get used to it, it never really feels trustworthy or comfortable. It always feels like you don't quite know what the car is going to do, and that's not really something that an arcade game should aim for, or a simcade, which was kind of what that game was trying to do. But in here, at least, we don't have that issue. Things will, of course, get more challenging as we get access to hypercars or more tricky vehicles, but at least right now, that's not something we have to worry about. And we just got a badge, which means we can move on to another set of events. Let's go to Vegas. That's quite a sentence, isn't it? 3 street racing events held under the hot sun on the famous Vegas Strip. So again, we have street races, which is good to get used to the handling model. What else can we do? We have photo mode. We can walk around the garage. We can test drive. Let's wait until we have more vehicles. Again, I'll race at medium. And overtakes, of course, will also give you kudos points. But let's try to win at the Vegas strip. And we can drive dirty here since what happens in Vegas, it stays in Vegas. And as you can see on the top right corner, you have the reasons, the things that I did to win kudos. And yeah, it definitely looks great for 2005, for late 2005. We have a huge straight here. So a higher top speed car would be more ideal, but we have to use what we got. Let's brake late. And as you can see, the AI will fight back. So it is interesting to play. So the solo mode, it is interesting to play as just as the online one was back then. But it did have a lot of online functions. I think it had a Gotham TV or something, which of course is long gone by now. And unfortunately, because of the licensed cars, you can't even play this anymore. It's not on the backward compatibility list on the series consoles. So if you want to play it, you have to play it on the original hardware. Especially since Xbox 360 emulation isn't quite there yet. And well, let's focus, but it's too late to focus. But at least we passed. Yeah, we had the Heroes channel as well, where you would see the time splits of other drivers or your friends as well. But sadly, again, we don't have that online component anymore. Yeah, we had the Gotham TV live, or if I'm not mistaken, you could watch other races as they were taking place. So you could essentially sit down and watch other drivers all around the world trying to win their races. And it was actually pretty good to learn how, to play better on a certain circuit or just to pass the time. And if you think about it, in 2005, I mean, YouTube wasn't what it is today. So that was actually really future looking, which I think is something really important when you play those old games, to put yourself back in the perspective of someone who would be playing them when they were released, as well as, of course, taking a modern perspective to how things have aged. And this time, it seems like we're finally going to win something. But let's not celebrate too early. The car sounds are okay. I mean, they're not earth shattering, but not awful either. But I would definitely say that a Gran Turismo or a Forza definitely had better engine noises than Project Gotham Racing. But yeah, I haven't taken a look that further back into the history of this game, but if I remember correctly, the development was a nightmare because they had to release this on day one, so Bizarre Creations was pushed to its limits. And a lot of things that they wanted to do would only be possible time wise on Project Gotham Racing 4. So PGR3, this one was like a placeholder almost to what to the vision they had for the seventh generation with PGR4. But that's not to say this is a bad game. It's just it was a victim of its reality that it had to be a day one game. But on the other hand, it was a fantastic day one game. I mean, imagine playing this in 2005 on your brand new Xbox 360. And that was a great era for racing games. We still had a lot of options. I mean, for instance, Burnout was still a thing. We didn't have Forza Horizon yet, but we had, I think, Juiced. We just had MotorStorm, sorry, Need for Speed Most Wanted. A few months from PGR3's launch, we would have MotorStorm. We would soon have the first Forza, sorry, the first Forza on the Xbox 360. And each game had its own style. They were not just, Forza Motorsport on PlayStation, which was what the crew essentially was initially. They each brought something to the table. And of course, later on, we would have Burnout Paradise, Grid, Need for Speed Shift, Split Second, Blur, many great games during that generation. Should I buy a new car or should I save? Yeah, let's buy a new car. Okay, I can afford a Ferrari. Oh, that's by the way, that's one of the uses of kudos in this game. So you have to earn a certain amount of kudos to unlock more cars to purchase. So earning kudos isn't just a stylistic choice. They actually integrate it to the game, meaning that if you get a lot of kudos, you have more options. Let's buy that Ferrari, especially since we had a Ferrari on the cover. Well, let's not get the yellow one. Let's go for a yellow one instead of the traditional blue. Now, where should I position it? Let's position it here. And of course, let's use it. After all, it is really apt to be in Vegas driving a Ferrari. Now, unfortunately we only have, I believe, 6 cars per event, which is a very small number. Even for games of that era. But yeah, that's what happens when you push the team to rush for a day one release. They have to cut corners, and having less cars on the track is an easy choice to make. Let's get some kudos here by drafting, as we still have another lap to go. We don't have to take any desperate measures here. Brake discs glowing, a nice touch for the era. But yeah, it doesn't help if you're not great at the game. And I've bumped my right rear view mirror. Well, if you no longer go for a gap that exists, you're no longer a racing driver, right? Unfortunately, that's also true for the AI. And we did it. Congratulations, you passed. So where do we go from here? I want a cone event and, well, finally get a trophy. And a very generous bonus for completing it as well. And they've arrived, the cone events. Your complete concentration is required for the series of challenges set on the Vegas Strip. So let's go for it. Well, let's use the Ferrari, although the four-wheel drive Skyline would probably be better. Cone challenge. Earn a target number of kudos by navigating through cone gates and stringing moves together. You must also cross the finish line before the time runs out. So it's not just about being precise, but also about being fast. And let's try to be both here. And as we string a sequence of events, in other words, a combo, we'll get more kudos, which in turn will help us unlock more cars and have a bit more variety throughout this video. And it may seem simple, but those events can get pretty challenging, as the time, eventually as you move on in the career mode, will be shorter and shorter. And you do have to pay attention, of course. Let's break. You can see the light reflections on. Oh, and by the way, if you hit a cone, you lose some time, as I just did. But that was still enough for a finish with almost 40 seconds left. We did beat the target, kudos as well. And the money here is really, really generous, which I don't criticize. I think racing games should not hold cars between absurd prices like GT7 does, for example. And we earned, well, the right to buy a new concept car, which in this case is the Mustang GTR concept. Do we have money for it? Congratulations, you've ranked up. So now we are in top 9. Can I buy the Mustang straight away? The concept, I mean. But we do have more options. Well, I don't think I can afford it just yet. What about a Countach? The anniversary one, especially. Not yet. Let's go for another race with our trusted Ferrari. Then we look at something else. So you do have a risk reward situation where do you try to be faster but lose some precision and perhaps hit a cone and lose some time? Or do you try to go just as fast as you need, but on the other hand, run the risk of not doing the time, not beating the time you have to? And it is a good change of pace from the usual races. And so far, so good. And I felt not enough kudos. So, yes, you definitely have to pay attention. But let's retry it with a more focused lens this time. Well, not enough, it seems. Ooh, almost lost control there, but not a disaster. Now I managed to get even less kudos than last time. So we need an intervention. Let's try to get some braking kudos and some drifts. But I don't remember which is the handbrake button. But I'm sure we'll soon find out. Yeah, with some handbrakes, with some handbrake drifting, sorry, we'll probably be able to reach the amount of kudos we need, and in fact, we just did. So now all we have to worry about is the time limit, but still have a lot of time left. And by the way, the handbrake is on the A button. And now we have a speed challenge, meaning that we have to drive past the speed camera, surpassing the speed limit that they have, which means we need a fast car. Now, which one do we choose? Let's try the. Should we buy another one since we got more money? Let's go for performance. Ooh, we have a Viper. Let's get it for old time's sake in the classic red. Let's use it. Drive past the speed camera and achieve the target speed. Sounds simple enough. Yep, not really a great place to slide. Ooh, almost. We're getting better. We're getting closer. And we did it. 93.4. And that concludes that set of events. And it should give us a trophy and some bonus credits as well. Nice. So, Vegas again, or perhaps Manhattan? Manhattan, we should go. So, we have a time versus kudos and a hot lap. In the hot lap, you have to nice complete a single lap within the target lap time, and in the time versus kudos, complete the circuit before the time runs out, earn kudos to stop the clock, use the e-brake to force your car into drifts. Good thing that we've just learned that you can handbrake on the using the A button. And also that we just have a Viper, which will be easier to e-brake. So let's try to get this one on the first try. So every time we earn some kudos, the clock stops and we can see the time saved there. And we have to save enough time to complete the entire lap. And you can also get some kudos on the straights. You don't have to wait just for the corners. But with only 18 seconds remaining, I'm not quite sure we'll do this one on our first try. But yeah, I was just being pessimistic. Congratulations, you passed. Now we'll move into the hot lap. Yeah, let's use this car. Let's wait to buy another one in the next event. We even have a rolling start. We have to complete a lap quicker than 1 minute, 11 seconds, and 69 milliseconds. So let's try to do it. Now, will that be enough? Fingers crossed. Indeed, it was. So again, we're going to get a trophy and some bonus money, which we'll use to get a to grab a brand new car for the next events. And that moves us downtown. Make your mark on Manhattan with the smell of burning rubber. And we have two street races, which calls for a new car. Now let's see the cars I can afford. Now we could move to a Class B car since we still have a Class C, or we could get another. Or do we have a Class D? Let's check. Yeah, we actually have a Class C. So which one should we pick? Let's get a. Well, we already have a Ferrari. Let's get a blue one. And I'll park it right here. And spoiler alert, we can buy a new garage, which, yeah, you have successfully filled your current garage. You now have a new garage to continue your collection. So as you collect more and more cars, you also get more space to push you to get more and more. So that's a very consumeristic, that really a game that pushes your consumerism beyond the limits. Someone could probably do a video essay on PGR3 and capitalism. And as you can see, I got a Class B car, and the my opponents have moved up as well. Now we can change the cameras on LB. Let's see the cockpit view for a while. As you can see, there are plenty of options for true romance. And I almost lost control completely. And later this month, we'll have Forza Horizon 6, which I'm definitely looking forward to. I'm still finishing up, clearing up the trophies I need to platinum Ghost of Yote, which I plan on making a video on. I still have to edit and record the audio actually on the Motorstorm Apocalypse video. But the game I'm looking forward the most this month, besides learning how to drive, is Forza Horizon 6. I really hope they get everything right with Japan. And that's not just an iteration on Forza Horizon 5. Not really an eventful race, I have to say. But yeah, some tracks could be a bit more balanced, I should say. There's just too many straights. But I do plan to cover PGR4. I mean, I still think those games actually deserve a proper video review, but we'll see. And we did qualify. So we have another street race downtown. And now that we actually have more cars, we can walk around the garage a bit more. And we can actually move up to the arcades and they're actually playable. So you are about to play Geometry Wars 1. Your progress will now be saved and the arcade machine will turn on. Yeah, very seizure inducing game. And I don't remember the controls. Well, clearly. And it's game over. So I'm sorry that I had to put you guys through this miserable display of Geometry Wars. And actually, the entire game was reset. But I do have my profile here. So let's get back straight into it. But as you can see, it is working and you can play both Geometry Wars 1 and Geometry Wars 2. Let's try playing on hard mode now, which as you can see, we now have to finish either on first place or second place. Just a podium isn't enough. Hi Isabel Lima, how's it going? And as you can see, racing on hard mode is indeed harder. What a surprise. The AI is clearly more aggressive as well. And a third place just isn't enough for us. So we have to well, we have to drive a bit better. So we still have 2 laps to go. If played right, it should be enough to at least get a second place. But I wouldn't bet on it. Well, well, well. Now you have to be careful with the bumps on the road as well, as you can clearly spin out or lose control, which, I mean, can you spin out without losing control? Not enough headroom to be relaxed, but at least we're doing something right. And it's the last lap. So no mistakes now. Uh-oh. They're getting closer. But that will be it. So yeah, let's try a few more races on hard mode, which give us more credits as well as the bonus from the event. So you definitely have a lot of money in this game, but like I said, this isn't some negative point for me. I'm really I really think racing games should give you, as many options to get new cars as possible. After all, why would you play a racing game if not to take a look at everything they have to offer? Okay, so now we have a stopwatch timed tournament. This worldwide tournament is about being fast, very fast, and it moves us through different countries, including a race at, or did I see too much? Well, let's wait for it. So first of all, we have a hot lap. Now, is it time to buy a new car? I think the answer is always yes. So based on performance, what should we get? Some concept cars we can't really get yet. What about a Ferrari or a GVR? I think I'm gonna get this supercar prototype and a new color. So let's get it on white and look at the amount of places we have to buy new cars now. Again, let's try it at hard mode. Not feeling too positive about this, but let's try it. We have a rolling start at night in London. So we have to do it in under 50 seconds. Yeah, I don't think we'll do it. But let's try again. So the event variety isn't really shocking, but I'd still say this is a fantastic launch title. And it is a good entry in the series. It did improve a lot of things that PGR2 did. It certainly was a visual upgrade as well, which for most people buying a console, a new console, is, I'm going to restart straight away, one of the most important things. But PGR4 is certainly the better game, as one would expect from a sequel. And we're already over the time requirement, but third time is a charm, right? So we'll be trying again. Also, performance wise, the game runs fine. I mean, we've been playing for about an hour, and there's no noticeable frame drops, no screen tearing, no issues with textures taking too long to load. Just the annoyance, this small annoyance with Geometry Wars having us to restart the whole game. Everything has been fine so far. Which, again, for a launch title, that's pretty impressive, as developers didn't really have a lot of familiarity with the hardware, nor a lot of time to work And yes, I'm going to change that to medium as I want to move along as far away as possible today. So let's retry and let's go for medium this time. Which now we have 5 extra seconds, which should be enough. And indeed, those 5 seconds were enough. Which moves us to time versus kudos. I'll use the supercar. So do we try hard mode or medium? Let's try hard again. Oops. Some sponsors are like time machines as well. I mean, it's been a while since I haven't seen a Sanyo uh, ad. Come on. I don't think we'll do it. And yep. I mean, we were close, so I think it's worth a retry. Just have to get a few more kudos, and that will do it. Yeah, I have to get some kudos on that straight here. Just ooh, almost again. Yeah, I'm definitely going to retry. It's a matter of honor now. Okay, uh, I was just playing around. Now that's for real. And that begs a question. Was I wrong for trying to get some e-brakes on the corners and perhaps wasting too much time? Yeah, I'm gonna restart again. But let's try it this time. Instead of trying to e-brake on the straights, just gonna try to go as fast as possible and focus on the corners, on the turns. Perhaps that was the solution. Ooh, well, let's let's experiment. Yeah, not this way. And I have 0 seconds left. But I'm gonna try once more. Come on, come on, come on. Well, I had 0 seconds here on the last. Ooh, no. Again, almost. But anyway, let's move on. But I had that in me, right? If it wasn't for the time of the live stream, I would 100% do it. Wink, wink. And yeah, I have to get more organized with being more predictable with the live streams and warning people in advance. But my schedule is still a bit of a mess. So today is a holiday here, which is why I managed to get some free time to play PGR3 and live stream it. But I'll try to be more organized. Anyway, let's continue. So now we have a breakthrough. Race through a series of checkpoints within the time limit. Clear a checkpoint to add more time. So that's another event type, and I believe it's the first time we actually play this time. I mean, play this event. So let's try to do it the best way we can. And I'll use this card. And again, let's try hard mode first. If that doesn't work, we can always, not really in a proud way, move to easy. Sorry, medium. So that's essentially a checkpoint event, meaning that again we have to drive as fast as possible, but this time passing through a series of checkpoints. I think they could be a bit more visual about it. I mean, and I like when we see the checkpoints sort of glowing in the middle of the track. They went with a more subtle approach here. But I do like the track design. I do like how everything looks, not enough, not arcadey enough, but at the same time, not something you would see happening, in real life. I do like that mix. Oops. And I failed. But let's try again before. Yeah, we had 7 splits and we only needed 2 more, which I feel like we can do it if we just pay a bit more attention. But yeah, in case you've, just passing by now or skip to this part of the video, I really, really, really recommend playing PGR3. I mean, even though I hadn't played this for a long, long time, it does feel fresh, it does feel precise, it really feels satisfying to play, which is something you certainly want in a racing game. And I failed again, which means we'll be moving to medium. Oops, lost control with a bump on the track, which is something you also have to pay attention to. You do get the occasional vibration on the controller to let you know you've just gone through a bump, but they're not easy to read. Obviously, as you get more familiar with the different tracks, you can sort of tell and read them in advance, but when you're just passing by the first one, it's not as easy. And as I always get surprised when people mention they've watched my entire stream, if you made up to this point, leave a comment and I'll reply it. So if I'm not mistaken, we have one event left. So not enough money to buy a new car, to comfortably buy a new car, but the prize for this event should be enough for us to get a brand new ride. And I'll just play in medium anyways. I just want to move faster now. And we're back at New York, which is always a great place for a street circuit. Rome is fantastic as well. The Eternal City. Brake, brake, brake. Yeah, it really fits. I mean, this game really fits into that category of leave it installed, and then when you have 5 minutes to kill, no, you have like an hour to kill, and you just want to play something, but you don't want to think really hard about which game you're going to pick. You just open PGR3 and you know you're going to have fun because of how it plays, because the selection of cards you have, and because the events are pretty straightforward. You don't need an MBA just to learn the different rules and event types, or you don't need a license test to get going. And like I mentioned, the money is plenty. So you do have a lot of events, and you need to earn trophies to unlock further events. So far we have 6 trophies, and to unlock more events, we need, well, 7. So let's do our best here in London. First, starting with the Cone Challenge, which begs for a new car. So let's buy a new car. We can go for price, we can go for performance, or we can go for alphabetic. I'm going with, should I go with price or performance? Let's go for performance. And if you can hear the birds in the background, I really like them, but ever since I started the channel, they've become a nightmare whenever I want to record an audio, because I'll be going through an entire paragraph and they will just start singing out loud, and I have to record it again. But as I like to say, when it comes to live streams, just treat them as a live soundtrack that is royalty free and made only for this live stream. So it's a good way to see it, I guess. Now, which card do we pick? Don't have a Lamborghini yet, so I think that is an interesting choice. So let's change it to performance. Let's go back to the menu. Cars I can afford. Let's go for performance. And what do we have here? We have the Diablo GT. So do we get a Diablo GT, or do we get a, yeah, I think we're, no, let's go for alphabetic. Diablo GT, Diablo VT. You know, I'll just go with the Diablo GT. I mean, the paradox of choice will not hold me back. But the Diablo GT will essentially get most of our money, almost the entirety of our money. Well, it better be worth it. And I'm going to get it in black. So where do we pick it? We have to keep it inside, right? So let's see how the Diablo GT fares. And again, we have a cone challenge. And look at those reflections. They weren't ray traced, but they just look good enough. Remember that in the cone events, you have to do a mix of precision as well as kudos. So we'll try to be as fast as possible, but we'll throw the eventual e-brake from time to time just to get some extra kudos and make sure we pass. Oops. Almost didn't see this one. And I kind of want a steering wheel now, especially since I played Drive Club on a proper steering wheel last week, which will be a short on the channel that hopefully will be out this weekend. Do we have enough kudos? Yes, we do. So let's just focus on passing through the cones. Well, not like this, but we'll do what we can. Come on, that's enough, my man. How many cones do I have left? For God's sake. Okay, we're through. We've made it out alive. So let's continue. Oh, we finally have a drift challenge. Earn a target number of kudos by performance big drifts within the time limit. String drift moves together to earn a lot of kudos. So is this a rear-wheel drive car? Well, let's not think let's not think too hard about it. Okay, so we already hit the target. I mean, that was a bit that was a bit disappointing, but I'll take it. I mean, that explains the lower amount of credits. But that was a good palate cleanser for, I believe, what what comes next, which I'm guessing must be a race. So let's check it out together. And actually, no, it is an overtake challenge. Pass a number of cars, a target number of cars within the time limit. Again, we'll use our Diablo. Do we try? Do we try it on hard mode for drivers with confidence and skill? Which, well, I probably lack both, but let's try it. So we have to pass 6 cars within 3 minutes. So we have one. Wouldn't it be good? Indeed, it was. Was that an air overtake? I mean, let's pretend that was totally intentional. But anyway, we have two overtakes, which means we have 2 minutes to multiply that number by 3. As you can guess, that's likely not going to be possible. And it's interesting to think that they went from this, from PGR4 in that case, to Blur. So they essentially thought, hey, what if we added powers and made destruction and crashes part of the events? And essentially, that's the idea behind Blur. What if we added Mario Kart power ups to PGR? Wouldn't that be fun? The answer is actually yes, but apparently not enough for Activision. Nice crash. Well, let's let's pretend we didn't see it. Yeah, that's not going to be possible. No, it's a bit late, but can I change from miles per hour to kilometers per hour? Not quite sure. Use this car, medium. Let's do it now. We have to do it now. And we only have to overtake 5 cars in this mode instead of 6. So that's one. Oops. That's 2. But we still have to fight for it. That makes it 3, meaning we have to overtake 2 more to succeed and move on to the next event. So we have 1 overtake left. Fingers crossed. And we made it. We had to overtake 5 cars, and we did overtake 5 cars. So let's move on to a cone challenge. And again, I've just used Diablo. Should we try hard mode? Do we have the skill and the confidence for it? Well, we'll have to. And it is a longer event, so probably not the best idea to toy around with a higher difficulty. Oops. Yeah, probably not gonna make it. And failed by a mile, actually. Not even 4K. So we're dropping to medium. It kind of feels like the difficulty is a bit unbalanced. That which is something that I feel with the Winning 11 games, Pro Evolution Soccer games, for example, that medium or regular or normal is too easy, but the jump from medium to hard is it feels much more challenging than it should, which is the case here. So we only have to do it's not half of it's almost a third of what we had to do in the hard difficulty. It feels like there should be a level in between, but there isn't. But this time we managed to cross the target. Oopsie. So to the next event we go. Was it the last event? Yes, it was. Which gave us another trophy plus another bonus and unlocked new series of events. So where do we go now? Well, both are set in New York. We have the Midnight Racing Series or the New York Bridge Series. I think I'll go for the Midnight one. And with that amount of money, that also bags for a new car. Now let's go alphabetically so we're not limited by performance or price. We just have to get what interests us. Well, we haven't got a Bentley, but probably we'll keep that way. There's a DB9. We already have a Diablo. What about a Ford GT? Well, we have a Gallardo. But I think not yet. Not unlocked. We have the GT4 Mark 1. Balmer Sport, the Noble M400, Miura. Great car. Let's get the, well, it's a D car. I thought it was a bit faster for being a concept car. So where do we go from here? Too many options. We already have a Viper as well. Not feeling like driving a Jag. So let's set by performance again. Oops, performance. I want a new brand, so yeah, let's get a TVR Typhoon. And in pink. So it looks, let's put it here. Still have some money left, but we'll save that for the future because we're still going to unlock my favorite car ever, the McLaren F1, and I'll make sure to buy that one as soon as I'm allowed to. And here we have New York at night, which always reminds me of GTA 4, which I always feel like replaying, but the performance on consoles is not good, and the stuff you have to install on PC to play it just makes me feel lazy. And also, GTA 6 is right around the corner. But yeah, I'm not really sure if we'll ever have another GTA, especially if GTA 6 is super successful, or as successful as GTA 5 was financially speaking. They'll just milk it for however long they can. But it would really be interesting to see another GTA set in New York. But I don't think that that team would do as great as the blue skies and everything else that LA has to offer. And again, if you made it this far, please leave a comment, because I guess, it's a surprise to me, but seemingly there is an audience that likes those live streams and watches it all the way through. So please leave another comment, because that will encourage me to do more of those. Because at least the chat is pretty much dead, but leave a comment if you made it this far. Anyways, what else is new? So I've just installed, I think it's Punk 2. Saw it on Game Pass. I have it on PC as well. It does look like an updated reimagination of Fear, with the bullet time and all that, also as well as the brutality. So that will be what I'll be playing. So that's what I'll be playing later tonight. I mean, either that or Ghost of Yote, because I have to get the platinum. Not that I'm doing it mechanically. I do enjoy the gameplay, and I still have, for example, to beat Takezo. And I have to remember that there isn't a rewind feature here, so I can't make those mistakes. Yeah, what a great place to make a mistake like that. But at least that was enough to move on. Anyways, I still have to beat Takezo. I still have to get all the bounties, plus all the shrines, the bamboo challenges, plus a few other side quests. And I really enjoy immersing myself in that world. I think it's a fantastic game. No, I don't want to drive it again. I want to move to the next race. But it is a bit grindy, which actually isn't an issue since I don't have a lot of time to play lately. So I don't get to the point of feeling like it's become a second job. Now I'm also looking forward for the remaster remake of Assassin's Creed Black Flag, depending on the price, of course. But with Ubisoft, you can always get a month of Ubisoft Plus and play the game. But I feel like for my schedule right now, a month is not enough. And again, you're just you're not essentially, you're renting the game. So if you want something more permanent, you have to get the physical copy. And I don't think Ubisoft is going to charge it fairly. And that's the last event I'll be playing today. I mean, I'll finish this one and play those other two races, and then call it for the day. I mean, that will be the longest stream on the channel so far. We'll get over 2 hours, so that's enough of Critical Pixels for a day, probably for a week. Now we have a one-on-one, which probably asks for a slightly better car than the Typhoon, but I'll use the Typhoon since it was the last purchase. So in this one, again, it's pretty straightforward. You have to finish first. There's no other option. It was also back in a time where manufacturers allowed some damage model to their cars, which now is rarer and rarer. I mean, you have an accident at 300 kilometers an hour in GT7, and all you get in your car are a few scratches, which that would be great if things work like this in real life. But if you look at Grid, for example, or the early Forza games, or even PGR, your car would get pretty beat up. But now that's a cardinal sin in marketing. So I have a 4 second advantage, which I will sure find a way to lose if I don't pay enough attention. Brake, brake, brake. And we're through. Now we're back to a traditional street race. Now let's see which other cars. No, let's see cars that I can afford. Performance only. Let's get a Ford GT in its traditional red. So let's try to get this final win and get the trophy plus the bonuses. That will be our 8th trophy, and we need 9 to unlock more events. And we're finally racing at New York Bridge. Oops. So that's a race where top speed matters quite a lot. And I'm not sure that we have enough of it. So we have to make the best use we can of the corners between those huge straights. Look at us go. But we still have another car in front of us. And another lap to go. Yeah, 6 seconds. Don't think we're going to get the first place. But the silver medal is enough. Look at those reflections. The visuals have aged really nicely for a 2005 game. that unfortunately we'll never get a remaster. But at least we can still play it on the original hardware. 5 seconds ahead, but it's the last lap, so second place it is. We're in the final corners now. And that's it. We get a second place and a trophy. Championship complete. And a nice bonus as well. So soon enough, that might be enough for a McLaren F1. But that will be enough for me today. So if you made it this far, thanks for watching. If you like those live streams, as it seems to be a small audience that actually enjoys it, please let me know in the comments, because that might make me, do more of those, as I don't really know if there's an audience for it. As usual, thanks for watching. Have a great day, and I'll see you in the next video.